What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. Actually, more like your regularly scheduled Geek Boutique podcast because it's been a couple weeks, of craziness. But we are back as your regular favorite nerdy, geeky, old bearded white dude show. That's right. The Geek Boutique.
Very.
Guys, we've got a guest here this week, Mr. Sam Cino. We're going to be talking some wrestling. Sam, first of all, how are you?
Doing fantastic, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
I do. Thanks for coming back. It's been a while, man.
Of course.
I feel like it's been almost a year since you've been on.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's been a long time since you've been on. And then this gentleman over here.
Oh, hi.
On my side, he's over here.
There you go.
Up in here.
Mr. Messiah Complex Cosplay, a.k.a. Jeff. How you doing?
Oh, so delicious. Oh, ooey, gooey chunks, JS. How are you? I'm still recovering. Not gonna lie.
I was just gonna ask, are you still recovering from last weekend?
Last weekend, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we went a little. We might have gone a little hard last weekend, but that's good, man. That's these super cool ass friends of ours. They came down from Schwa, and then a bunch of other friends joined us, and we had this crazy, epic, newsworthy event on May the 4th to celebrate Star Wars, and so we got drunk on Thursday, and then we got drunk on Friday, and then I might have had a few myself on Saturday. So come Sunday, I was like, "Ooh, I should slow down. I'm old," and I did. And now we're here and everything's good. How are you? Because you did all that 3 hours from home. So you still had to drive home Saturday.
Yeah.
Like you didn't get home. I think you messaged me at 6 p.m. before you got home on Sunday or Saturday.
Yeah, it was dinner time.
Yeah.
By the time we got home.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. I mean, we caught a little bit of traffic. Pretty tired, but same as you. We had a couple drinks too on Saturday night. With some friends.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I don't know how much more my liver can take here. Holy shit! We went, pretty hard for 3.
What do you need a liver for? It's overrated.
It fixes itself.
Yeah,
well, fair enough. But no, what a great weekend. I mean, London has a geek community like I've rarely seen anywhere else. I gotta say it. London has great comic book shops. It's got a bunch of great cosplayers. People love to hang out. I mean, the turnout, even not just the cosplayers, but the people that just showed up. I mean, it was crazy. I am so happy. We raised a little bit of money for Dad Club London. I mean, we're gonna be making posts, FYI, guys, about this. Okay, we're gonna have some posts coming on Instagram. We're gonna post some pictures. We're gonna post some details about how much we raised, et cetera, et cetera. It's just been such a hectic week for us. We just haven't had a chance to do anything. I was in Ottawa the last 2 days for work.
I'm very, very sorry.
Like I was saying, in the last, I want to say 36 hours, I've spent 11 of those on a train and 2 of those in Ubers. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a week.
Train is a distinguished way to travel, though. It's all good.
Dude, if I have my preference, it's train every single time, brother. I love between a bus, a car, a plane, and a train. I will choose a train 99 times out of 100, dude. I love train travel. No, not a fan.
Yeah. No.
I love just sitting
in little seat.
Yeah, but you don't have it it just goes there. They just you don't have to
get there. You don't got to worry.
And they take care they do everything. You don't have to.
Well, you can't worry, Sam, because you never know when you're going to actually get there because the trains are always late, right?
Wow,
there's always something.
That's true, but
so I mean, it is what it is. It's easier for me to take the train than to have to drive into the island to hitch a flight to. That's just silly, right?
It's so silly.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
When I can just get on the train right here in Oshawa and, yeah. So, yeah, I'm probably on the train for an extra hour or whatnot, maybe even an extra 2 hours. But, yeah, at least I don't have to deal with the nonsense of having to go all the way downtown. So, yeah. Big thanks to everybody. Big thanks to London Brewery Co-op. I mean.
He's got it. There it is. I knew he had one.
I mean,
that's so sweet.
I don't even know. It's hard to explain how happy I am about this. How cool I thought that this was, that they would do this for us. It's actually good. I don't even like darker beers, and this is like Mike was saying, "Oh, it's so smooth," and this, and I'm like, "Dark beer's not smooth, dude. Like, what are you talking
It's
about?"
not
Like,
dark. It's a lager. It's a honey lager. It's not
yeah,
dark.
it's
dark.
listen, it's fantastic. I
That's
really
good.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We sold out on the tap before 7 hit.
And then we sold out of the cans within an hour of that. So yeah. If you did not get a can and you didn't get a taste,
They're
you
gone.
ain't getting it.
They're gone.
Megan
Yeah,
in the
you're
chat
not getting
says
it.
collector's item. Now.
Collector's item now. That's right.
Yeah.
There's only so many of them out there. So I got a 6 and I've already drank 3 of them. And so I'm going to make sure I keep one like in the can.
That's why this one's here in my office.
Right.
Like, this one's going to be on my shelf here.
But I'm even going to keep the empties just so I have them and everything else. Like, it's
fair enough.
Yeah,
fair
enough.
enough.
I mean, hey, this time next year, there's going to be a whole new can with a whole new beer.
Hey, listen, I mean, if they keep wanting to do this for us, we'll keep throwing parties, man. Like,
easy peasy. We were already talking about the kind of beer that we think it should be and what we're going to call it.
How often do they make a batch of beer and it sells out like?
Well, to be fair, that was the first batch that they'd made in their pilot system, is what they called it. So because they didn't know what the turnout was going to be and they didn't know how the beer would go over, they made a smaller batch. It was only a 30-liter batch, but I think they found out that A, it was a pretty good idea. It tasted pretty good, and B, our friends like to drink. So
stank on that one.
A little bit. Yeah. So I think we're going to be in pretty good hands moving forward as far as doing events and stuff there goes.
And it's funny because early in the evening there were like 3 people that came in and sat at the bar and they drank for like an hour and then they left. And as they're leaving, I'm like, "Oh, did you guys try the beer?" They're like, "What beer?" I'm like, "The May the 4th beer." They're like, "No, what's that?" I was like, "The honey lager." Like, "No, we didn't try." And I was like, "What the hell, man?
What are you doing here?
Telling them about the beer.
Why are you here?
And then it's like, well, then it didn't really matter because it sold out so fast that it was
very, very easy to drink beer. That's for sure. But huge success, guys. We were on the news. Apparently, we were in the paper. Someone at work told me they saw us in the paper, and I was like, "We were in the paper?" So I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to see if I can track that down. I don't know, man. It was.
we're in the online paper. I mean, they wrote an article that's on their website, but I didn't realize like who would have. Like,
the London Free Press is the big paper around here, so I don't know if they have a tie-in through CTV or whatever. Maybe. I don't know. Someone at work was like, "Yeah, we saw you in the paper." I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't remember being in the paper, but whatever.
That's when you have to go. Do you have it?
Do you have that?
Please send me it.
Anyways, yes, guys, huge thanks to London Brewing Co-op, Dad Club London, Crazy Mike Cosplay for helping us organize all of it. Obviously, JS and Jen for coming all the way from the Schwa to London to help us out with that. It was a bit of a hike, but I like to think we made it worth their while. So it was a good time.
It was a great time,
guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to remind everybody that's on the channel right now, if you are watching us and you have not hit the subscribe button, what are you doing? I know this happens on every YouTube video. And guys, I'm sorry that we're here every week shilling for subscribes, but there is a goal in mind for us to be able to take the channel to the next step. We're not there yet. We're getting closer and closer. So do us a favor. If you haven't hit subscribe, please do so now. If you haven't, or if you don't mind sharing it, let other people know, hit that subscribe button. And if you could as well, if you've already done that, maybe hit that like or maybe throw a comment on there, because that will then help propagate it through the algorithm, because the algorithm on YouTube is dog shit. So we want to get as much behind that as we possibly can. So please, 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 I'm begging you with a cherry on top, hit the subscribe, throw us a like, throw us a comment. That part's done. We're done shilling, guys, but it definitely helps us here. There's a
hey, wait a second. We might as well pitch it again if we're going to be shilling, because a couple people asked me while we were in London, "Hey, did you guys bring T-shirts? Like, I want to buy a T-shirt." We didn't have anything on hand, unfortunately. All of the merch that we make is
made to order.
Like, it's made to order. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if you do want something, just go to our website, right? geeksandcompany.ca. The first link at the top is our shop. You can order T-shirts, keychains. I'm going to have decals. I've got a whole set of decals that I'm working on, like geeky decals for your car or your laptops or whatever you want. I got a bunch of decals coming. So, yeah, check out the shop. Anything you want to order, if you're from out of town, if you're not local, just send me a DM. We'll figure out shipping and all that, and we'll get the stuff to you. Worst case scenario, if you're going to be at a con that we're going to be at, we can also deliver you stuff right at the con. We did a lot of that last year, actually, where we would just bring stuff to the con and people come and pick it up there. We did it at Toronto Comic Con. So, yeah, and that's also a very good option for you guys if you want to help support what we do so that we can do more things like this May the 4th event, because, man, that was a lot of fun. It was so much fun.
Yes, sir. Yes,
There's a bunch of people in the chat already. Keith is there. Jordan is there. Megan Avery's there. Skittles the Third. That is, I feel like
Rachel. That is our friend Rachel. She is out of the Chatham area. So, in fact, interestingly enough, I did not see her at CK Expo, weirdly enough, and I thought I would. So, Rachel, you got some explaining to do. Chris Gillings is he came out to our event. He was the Batman who I broke the.
Yes, Chris is the Toronto, not Toronto, St. Thomas Batman.
Thomas Batman. So funny story. At our event, Chris needed help getting zipped up into his Batman, so he unfortunately chose me to help him. And Chris,
oh boy,
Chris got a lot of booty. So as I'm trying to zip up the zipper, which was below his butt, as I went over his butt, his zipper went and just like basically split itself. And yeah, he actually had to take the suit in to get it repaired.
He had to get the zipper replaced because
it was
between you and me and Teresa and we destroyed his zipper.
Chris, I apologize. I owe you $15. Don't let me ever zip up your suit again, and keep doing them squats, bro, because it's working. Rob is saying Rob the bad guy. He wants a decal for his Jeep. I think I don't know who this Rob the bad guy is, but I think we can probably hook him up with something like that. I think you know Rob, don't you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoever that guy is.
That sounds familiar. Yes.
I'm sure we can help him out.
Which reminds me, Roberto, I mean, you do need to swing by if you want your beer, bud.
Before he drinks it on you.
Before I drink it.
Glug, glug, glug. Hey guys, it's Sam Cino that we're talking to today.
It is.
Who is this guy? Who is this handsome gentleman? Sam,
thank you.
Give us a little bit about you. I know we've had you on the podcast before, but for people that don't know you, I know you personally from cosplay, mostly through Niagara Falls. But give us Sam Cino in a little shot glass here.
Ooh, a little shot glass. I don't know if that's enough, but we'll try.
Come on, man. You got this.
Yeah. So to everyone out there, hello. My name is Sam Cino. I am the photographer and social media director for Go Neo Pro, also known as Neo Pro Wrestling. Neo Pro Wrestling has been a wrestling league that's been around in spurts since 2001. I joined the company back in 2010 during their second run, and then when we're back now for our third run. So our premier event next week, May 20th, is going to be called Neo Rising 3 Homecoming. And we're bringing home AEW superstar Sean Spears, who grew up in St. Catharines, Niagara Falls area. So for the first time in about 6 years, he is coming home and he's going to wrestle. Can't say who he's going to wrestle yet. You'll find out tomorrow on our social media pages.
How excited are you guys for this event? How long has it been in the works and planning it for? Because as you said, the company's been around for a while, but it's been a hot minute since there's been an actual
like 3 years,
event,
I think you were saying, right?
10 plus.
10 years.
10
wow.
Plus. Every now and then on my Facebook memories, it says 10. Like on this day, 10 years ago. I'm like, oh geez. And I'll send it to our group of guys that run it. We're like, hey, remember when we did that? And we're like, oh my God. And then my friend turns and he looks at his kids and he goes, you guys weren't around yet. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, the company started back 2001 and I think it ran till about 2005 and 06. I was not in the wrestling scene at the time here. I was just a young guy. The company closed for a little bit and then I showed up and I started refereeing and taking photos. Neo came back in 2010, I want to say, and we ran for about 3 years then. And we're going to bring it back a couple years ago, but then there was a plague, so we couldn't. So there was a super show.
Plague.
Yeah, so there's a super show back in October that I was at, just of a local company, and all of our original Neo gang was there. We kind of just saw each other and went, "Yeah, let's go."
It was finally time after a decade on hiatus.
Yep.
Is it essentially the same? Like, would it look familiar to people that watch? There you go.
Fantastic
Would it look
poster.
familiar to people that were familiar with the product 10 years ago, or is this really like a brand? Is this like round 3 of like, will it be this word salad that I'm trying to get out here? I'm just trying to land it here. But is it going to, if people that are already familiar with the product, is this going to be like a homecoming, or is this going to be like literally like a brand new thing?
It's a little bit of both. So we have all of our old school guys coming back. So I can use the poster, for example. So at the top is Sean Spears himself. He's our headliner. And so he grew up, per se, like I said, he's from the area. So he wrestled for Neo in the first and second run. And then he went off to WWE and AEW now. Going to poster left is Tiberius King. He started the company back in 2001. So he is there. He'll be there May 20th. He is taking on Channing Decker, who is a newish comer. He has been wrestling for about 9-10 years himself, but he is new to Neo. So I know he's very excited to, fight one of the old guys of Ontario wrestling. On the poster right is Cody Deaner. He's been around as well since the original run in 2001. He now wrestles for Impact Wrestling, and he is still local to Niagara in Ontario, and he goes around in the States. And the bottom 3 guys, again, on the poster left, is Primo Scordino. He's got the shirt open, just a jacked specimen of a human being, professional bodybuilder, professional trainer, professional wrestler. So he'll be there. He is also from the original run 2001, second run when I came along, and now he's back for more. Our friend doing the crane kick, that's Jeremy Elliott. He is the, I always mess up the order of this. He is the Sport Karate Hall of Fame. That's what that's a Hall of Fame he's in. So he's a multiple world champion, black belt in various martial arts. So he started as a pro wrestler back in 2001, again in the original run, came back in the second run. Now he is back just as himself. He doesn't have a gimmick. That is his gimmick. He is a legit karate guy.
His own gimmick. So, by the way, we should probably break in every now and then and explain specific wrestling terms for people that don't know. So, for those of you that don't know what a gimmick is, that is a character that a wrestler portrays. So, there's a gentleman named Mark Calloway. You may know him as The Undertaker. The Undertaker character is the gimmick. That's the character that he portrays. So, think of it like your cosplay, like your JS is not Doc Ock. He just portrays him on TV. That would be his gimmick. Similar in wrestling, that's their gimmick that they portray. So continue, Sam. I'm going to do that throughout because we're going to have a bunch of terms that non-wrestling fans aren't going to have a clue what that is. So.
Absolutely. If I get too happy, let me know. Just read me in.
You're good, brother. You're good.
So our last guy, bottom right of the poster, is Stickball Tony Carboni. He is tag team partners with Primo on the left. They make up the team of the Italianos, the Niagara Falls legends around here. So again, and he's been around since 2001. Came back the second run, and now he is back for homecoming. So everyone is coming home, and we do have a smattering of new talent as well that we're bringing in specifically for this show. So if you were at the original run or the second run, there will be some faces you'll recognize, and we're gonna have some new surprises for you as well.
Is the look and feel though similar to what people have seen from you guys before, or are you trying to tread some new ground? Because the product has changed in the last 10 years too, right? So are you guys trying to keep up with where the product sort of is now, or are you looking to more go for that old school feel?
Bit of both again.
Okay.
We remember where we came from, but we also know we can't just do the same stuff again like we did.
Right.
The people want to see the new stuff. They want to see the cool stuff.
Of course, the cool stuff, the hip stuff, the great stuff. How many matches on the card?
There's going to be 8. 8.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, 8.
Okay.
Yes. I didn't
so you've got what are you looking like? Are you doing any like vignettes in between, or is it strictly just these are the cards, this is the match, it's a live event? That's it. Like
we're aiming to have vignettes in between everything, and we have some video production that we have done that we put up on our social media. That's at Go Neo Pro. Every social media channel you can think of, we're on. I think most of them. We're big on Facebook and Instagram. Those are our big two. We're also on TikTok. We're looking to go more that way as we get some more content to put up. There is a question in the chat I want to jump to from Jordan Extreme.
What did Dad? No, this is Dad, not Danny Davis. This is what did Daddy Davis do to not make the poster?
Yes, so Daddy Davis is one of our original guys from the first run and the second run. He wrestled in the day as Andrew Davis. Now he is Daddy Davis, as he has children, and he comes out to the Full House theme. And he is a super talented wrestler, but he'll make you laugh. But he will also put the pain on you if you're not careful.
But he didn't make the poster, so
He did not. No.
Do you have an explanation, sir? Like, what's going on? Well,
no.
we should talk to him at some point and find out. I'm sure he's not happy about it.
Is this one of those things where you should be watching on May the 20th to find out why he didn't make the poster?
Exactly.
There you go.
You find out.
How long is the show approximately? Are you guys looking to put in 3 hours like a typical show, or are you keep it skinnier than that? Or
it is a family-oriented show, so we know like the kids got to go to bed eventually. So show starts at 7. We hope to be wrapped up by 10 or earlier.
And what's the venue? Where?
I was just gonna say, like, where is this? What are the ticket pricing? Where can people buy tickets? Like, might as well get that out of the way right
Absolutely.
up front.
Get your tickets. www.goneopro.ca. So it's GONEOPRO.ca. Tickets are all there. Tickets start at $20. Front row, I think there may be only 1 or 2 left. Those are $40. Second row is $30. Front row and second row, you get priority entry into the building at 6 o'clock. You get to meet Sean Spears himself. He'll sign any autographs, take pictures with you. Please bring your own camera. If you have something you want to get signed, like figure, that's cool as well. Please bring it. So you get priority entry. You get assigned seating, so you get to pick your seat when you purchase your ticket. Everyone else is general admission. You get in around 6:30, 6:45, and show starts at 7. And we look to provide a good value for your dollar. So you're going to get 8 fights. We are a licensed event as well, even though it is an all ages show. We do have a bar for those who choose to partake. And yeah, we're going to have merch. We got food. We got concessions. We got hot dogs, popcorn. You'll have a good time.
Nice.
Yes, and the venue, the most important part. You got to know where you got to go.
Yeah.
We are at 6990 Stanley Avenue in Niagara Falls. That's the Columbus Club of Niagara Falls. It is a sweet venue, and I'm not just saying that because I worked there. Like, it is a sweet venue. Like, I walked in and I saw the floor and the stage and the balcony, and I was just like, this is home now, and we are coming home, and it's going to be sweet.
Is this something now? I know for indie wrestling, in particular, indie wrestling events, a lot of the times the next event is only going to start getting planned sort of based on the success of the current event that's about to come up. Mm-hmm. But do you guys have a vision for where you want to go next after this show? Because this is your first big show back in 10 years. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any idea what's going to jump off from this show? What you guys would like? Would you like to come back to this venue? Would this be something that you would want to do on a semi-regular basis, or do you want to have more of an expansion out into the greater Southwestern Ontario area and go from there? Like, what's the hopes and dreams next for NeoPro?
Next, we're planning to stay at that venue for a little bit, and I think we're going to do 2 or 3 shows there. And then from there, we're going to see if we can branch out into Welland, Dunnville, Smithville, Grimsby, Beamsville, Burlington, Toronto, Oshawa, Ottawa, then the world.
The world.
Worldwide.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, so the plan is to have another show after this, right?
Yes.
This is not like a one and done.
No.
We're coming back for a reunion type thing.
We're back. We got this show, and I think we're looking at the fall, so either September, October, November, somewhere in there. And then from there, we got to see.
Fair. Who are you, like, where are you in the organizational chart? Like you mentioned, you do some refereeing, you take some photos. Like, where are you? Are you in on any of the booking? Is that not your forte? Do you do, booking the people and booking them, like booking on both ends? Do you get into any of that?
I throw in some ideas for like guys we want to use, and then I let Tiberius King and Primo, basically all the guys on the poster, they kind of have a final say of who we're going to get, who we're going to use. So I said, how about this guy? They say, okay, yeah, we'll think about it. And then they make the magic happen. So I just kind of throw ideas at them. Where I am on the organizational chart is I am co-owner. There's 5 of us total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's myself, Tiberius King, Primo, infamous Jay Moore, who is actually being carried on the poster. He's the guy getting carried.
Yep, nice, and,
good. He was a bad guy then. He's cool now. And Jay Moore and Stella, she is Jesse's wife. She runs all of our graphic design. So the poster is all her. So I do the pictures, and I give the pictures to her, and she makes it magic poster.
So who's running the book, as it were, behind the scenes? And for those of you that don't know, a booker is essentially the person that decides, or the people that decide sometimes, how the matches are going to go. Newsflash, guys! I know I'm breaking kayfabe, but newsflash: wrestling is preordained. We that's all out in the open now. That's been out in the open for years now. Do you guys decide collectively, or do you have one guy that's running the book that's like, nope, this is going to go this way and this is going to go this way? How does that work for you guys?
That's between Tiberius King and Primo. They kind of come up with the stories. I just throw names and say, this guy. So
that's fair.
Fill it in. Yeah.
Now, are guys coming in like they figure out their own gimmicks? They take care of their own ring attire. They do their own, like, is all that on them, right?
Everyone usually 99.9% of the guys in Ontario that you will see. I can't speak to the other provinces because I haven't been out there, but they all come up with their own character and they get their own bookings. So they're the guys writing various companies saying, here's me. I have a demo reel.
Oh, nice. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what I can do. I was trained by so-and-so. If you want to speak with
these
him.
are guys that do the rounds, right?
Yes.
Like they're on the road and, yeah.
Is it kind of like being in a band? I always heard the whole, like, I'm dragging $5,000 with equipment 500 miles to make $50. Like, I imagine the indie wrestling scene and circuit, it's got to be a pretty competitive circuit. It's an extraordinary. Yeah. By the way, guys, I'm taking nothing away just because it's preordained. It is still one of the most intense physical activities that you can do athletically. These guys are just out there killing themselves.
You are a stuntman without. You're a stuntman in theater instead of a movie. You're a stuntman in theater. Yeah. Every time you fall down, it was told to me, every time you get knocked down or whatever, you get clothesline. Every time you hit the ground, it's the equivalent of 20-kilometer car crash on your spine and your neck. Because I say when you fall down, you got to tuck your chin, or else you're going to whack your head on the floor. You're going to get concussed. So tuck your chin when you fall down. So that's coming down your neck to your back.
We're all not Mick Foley guys.
No, there's a reason why those guys get hurt all the time, right? Like it's scripted, sure, but man,
Jordan knows.
You go throw yourself on the ground and
Yeah, and I know you'll hear the guys like they'll teach you how to fall, or you learn how to fall, but then you see it's called taking a bump, guys, is what it's called in the business, and you watch some of these guys take these bumps, and I don't care who you are or how you've been trained, it's going to take a toll on you, especially if you're doing it 200 days out of a year or 300 days out of a year or whatever your schedule will allow for whatever it is you're doing. Just absolutely insane.
Every time you see someone get hit with like a stick or a chair, or they get put through a table, it's all real. There's no like pre-cut table or pre-bent, garbage. It is
none of that stuff. Yeah.
The red light comes on and it's go.
So what got you into JS? I am bogarting all of the time in questions. I am so sorry, because you said you weren't there for the initial run. So not even so much with Neo Pro, but like what got you involved in wrestling in the first place? Like, why is this clearly a passion for you?
Yeah.
You're a part owner of a wrestling promotion. That's bananas to me.
It's wild. It's so
wild. It's crazy town. Like, you are the modern day Paulie Dangerously, Elvis. Like, how did
thank you? It's a huge compliment.
Because as soon as you said you guys were going to go back to that same venue, over all I could think about was the ECW arena, like in Philly. Like that's all that was occurring to me.
So Tiberius King grew up on WCW and ECW. So that's his thing.
That's the vibe that he's going for.
Yeah,
100%. It's definitely given off an ECW vibe for sure. What got you involved to this extent that you're part owner of a wrestling promotion? Like that's huge, dude. Like you're in with both feet.
Like I said, it's so weird when I say that. It's like, what do you do? I own a wrestling company. Whoa.
Oh, what?
But yeah, how I got in. So this was back in 2005 tail end. I was in college for engineering or whatever I was taking, and I was reading WWE.com. Yeah, it's
just engineering, not nothing.
I didn't pursue it, so that's why I can say it's fine.
Yeah.
So I was in there, we're doing homework, and I had WWE.com open. I was looking at the results from Raw or SmackDown. Sure. The guy next to me leans over and he's like, "Hey, you watch wrestling?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I know a guy that wrestles." I'm like, "Well, who?" He's like, "Do you know who Sean Spears is?" I'm like, "Well, no, but he's a wrestler around here." I'm like, "There's no wrestling around here. Get out of here." He's like, "Yeah." So he showed me like it was 2005, so like a GeoCities website, and he's like, "Here's the next poster. You should go check it out." I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, all right. So I got some buddies and we went, and I remember it was in the Knights of Columbus Hall in Welland, Ontario. For those of you who know the area, So I walk in, and we got there, a little bit. so we got there, and we were a little bit late, so the show had started, and there was a ladder match between El Reverso, Phil Atlas, and Cody 45. Cody 45 is refereeing for us on May 20th, so he's still around. The other two guys, kind of off and on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Actually, no, Phil Atlas, he's gone. He's done. El Reverso still kicking. I have a fun story with him. But going back to the venue, I walked in the venue, and there's a ladder match between these three guys. And the very first thing I saw was El Reverso get thrown off this ladder. As he fell to the outside of the ring, his foot got stuck in the ropes. So he went from falling feet first to falling head first.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, that man's dead. So I'm like, this poor guy, oh my God, this is...
Yeah.
So he got up, and he's like they carry him in the back, but I'm like, okay, he's all right.
Sure. Yeah.
So I didn't know anyone, but I just wanted
to... So he didn't go head first into the concrete, is what you're saying?
No, he was lucky. He landed okay, that he wasn't permanently injured. But I remember seeing him fall. I'm like, this guy is dead. Like, there's no way he can go. So they finish the match, and he gets up with help, and they cart him off to the back. And I see him leaving the venue later that day. I'm like, hey man, like, I know this is rehearsed and all that, but are you okay? And he's like, yeah, like it looked a lot worse than it was. I'm like, okay, like, good, all right. So ever since then, and I see him now, I'm like, I remember when you landed on your face. He's like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
And that's what got you in.
Yeah, that was the first thing I saw, and I'm like, I think I got to watch this again. So I came back from the next show, and then the third show they had on the website, there's going to be like a training session for those who want to learn to wrestle. So I was like, oh, that's okay. This doesn't happen in Niagara ever. I didn't know anything about wrestling locally. So I'm like, okay, I'll go check this out. So my buddy and I went, and I remember going in, and there was this guy that was dressed head to toe in The Rock merchandise. And I'm like, this guy's pretty cool. All right. So I found out he was a reporter for the newspaper. So I was like, oh, that's really neat. You're doing like an in-depth story about wrestling locally. And he's like, yeah, I'm really excited. So we did this training session, and we all got beat up. I woke up the next day like, can't move. And it was like the good pain, you know, when you work out, you wake up the next day, you're like, oh, this hurts, but it's a good hurt. So it was like that.
I'm 50, dude. I don't know what good pain
is. You don't know what that is? All right.
Yeah, go ahead. We appreciate that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a good feeling. I was like, I put in some work yesterday. This is great. So I did that first training, and then the next month I had another show. So I did another training. And then the third show, the guy who was running the training, he was moving or something, so he couldn't do it anymore. So I stuck around, and I was doing the ring crew. So I would go before a show, and I put the ring together and set up chairs, all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And then that company ended up closing, and then another company opened up, which had most of the same guys. So they said, hey, like Sam knows how to put the ring together. We can use him. So I did that for a couple shows. Then eventually they said, hey, the one referee couldn't make it. Can you like sub in? I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that. He's like, you watch wrestling, don't you? Yeah. He's like, do what they do on TV. And that is the worst possible advice you can give someone when they referee. Because I was like,
yeah, because the referee is like he's the coordinator, right? Like
he is the third
he's
man.
The one that gives you the cues and the whens
exactly.
and he's like the director.
Yes. Like, yeah, you nailed it. So I'm just like, man, okay, I don't know what to do. So I got lucky in the first match that I refereed was Brody Lee versus Jeff Black, and it was a contract on a pole. So I didn't have to do anything. They just had to climb up the pole and tear off the paper, and that's the winner. So I told them, hey guys, this is my first match. I'm really nervous. Like, can you tell me anything to help you? And like, oh no, like it's all good. We're gonna do this, and he'll like body slam me or something, and I'll go up and I'll get the paper and I'll win. So I'm like, okay. So they're on the top rope, and Brody gives Jeff Black off the top rope a power bomb. So he just boom. So I go, hey man, like that looked really bad. Are you okay? And he goes, I can't feel my legs. So I'm like, crap. And I started losing. I'm crying. So I'm like, this guy is gonna he got hurt on my watch, and it's my first time. Oh my god. So Brody gets a paper, and he's like, yeah. And he's like, hey, is he okay? I'm like, he can't walk. He's like, all right. So he goes in the back, and they get some guys, and they cart this guy out. And again, I'm just losing my mind. Like this poor guy is crippled. And we get to the back. The promoter comes back. What the hell's going on? He didn't say hell. He said some other bad words I won't repeat. But what the hell's going on here? And he's swearing up and down. And the guy's laying on the floor. I can't feel my legs. So we're like, we got to call this guy an ambulance. And as I say that, he stands up, and he's completely fine. And he's like, got you. I'm like,
Oh,
you're a jerk.
That's not nice.
So in wrestling parlance, guys, that is known
Yes.
as a work, and
Yes.
it was very
Yeah.
effective. Yes.
So
That's
Brody
not
Lee comes over
nice.
and he claps me on the arm. He says, "Welcome to the wrestling business. You'll be all right."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
"Ah, Jesus." So that's my Brody Lee story. So unfortunately, Brody Lee, he passed away a couple years ago.
He did.
He had a lung disorder of some sort. But
I saw the tribute show. It was pretty great. So then you move from that, so setting up the ring, to refereeing actively, to an ownership bid in the company.
Yes and no. Yes, that's the Coles notes. So I refereed for a bit, and then Neo came back for the second run, and I got involved there because Tiberius King, he had taken some time off, so he came back to wrestle, and he came to wrestle for PWA Niagara, which is where I was refereeing. So I worked with him, and I didn't know who he was at the time because again I was sort of still new to everything. So and someone's like, "Oh, Jesse's here." I'm like, "Well, who's Jesse?" Like, that guy. Like, okay. Is he well known? I don't know him. Like, oh, you don't know? So they told me like he ran Neo and all these like big like legend stories. I'm like, oh, this guy is like the guy from where he's the guy. So I end up refereeing for him a couple times, and then Neo comes back. He's like, hey, I heard you ran this company previously years ago, and now it's coming back. I'd like to come referee. If what do I need to do? And he goes, well, I'm full on referees right now, but I need someone to take pictures, and I know you're in journalism school. Like, yeah, that's me. He's all right. So can you do that? Yeah, absolutely. So that's how we became like buddies, I guess. And then now I own the company with him and three other people, and it's so weird.
Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So you clearly grew up watching wrestling. Like, you've been a fan for a long, long time. So give us some of your, because I know JS has got some stuff too. He watched during the Attitude Era, but what's your sort of your Mount Rushmore when it comes to wrestling matches that you've seen? What were the influential things from when you were a kid that kind of got you into it in the first place?
I have this old VHS tape that my parents recorded of me as a baby, and I'm just like running around the house, and the TV in the background, you can see like Macho Man talking to Mean Gene. So whenever we watched that one time, my mom's like, hey, like wrestling's on in the background. It's been like in our family for forever. So Macho Man was a guy, like one of the bigger guys when I was growing up, and Hulk Hogan, of course. So when Hulk Hogan left WWF then and he went to WCW, that's where I had followed because my parents were like, oh, Hulk went to this company, we should watch that company. So I missed 90% of the Attitude Era because I was watching WCW.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then one day I was flipping through, and this was when Channel 17 or whatever was the TV guide. So I was waiting for it to roll around, and it said WWE SmackDown Wrestling. I'm like, wait, there's only that's not right. This is right. So there's another company what is going on? And I remember Mick Foley was standing on, and it was SmackDown where they had the circular stage. They didn't have the fist over top yet, but it was just the circle. And it was Mick Foley, and he was cutting a promo on Triple H about something. And that was like my first thing of WWF. And then I was like, oh, this is way better than WCW. These guys
well,
talk.
yeah, I mean,
these guys talk.
Yeah.
So I went over there and I was like watching, and I was like, oh, wait, there's like two companies. And so now that everything is like over, WWE owns all the WCW stuff. They put all these documentaries about the Monday Night War and WWE versus WCW. So I was like, okay, I remember watching that on WCW, and this was happening like
at the same time.
Yeah. And it's like putting comics. It was like the multiverse was like coming together, and I was like, this is so neat. I missed all this stuff. So I watched just the replays of everything.
Yeah, cutting a promo, guys, is when you're doing an interview on television. Like, they've handed you a microphone and you're talking. That is cutting a promo, is what that's referred to as. So, and those were WCW had some of the best guys in the business, including Hogan. Yeah, when he went over, that was huge news, because the WCW product before he got there, and kind of even when he first got there, was dog shit. So it was very good.
It was very.
I mean, it wasn't
80s Southern wrestling.
It was very bad. It was very bad.
I don't know that it was very bad. There was some good talent there, but
initially though, like when they brought Hogan over first,
right?
And they even still had Hogan in his like classic, red and yellow, and something mean, like it was, the product was very bad. Like, it wasn't really until Hall and Nash got there as the outsiders, and then the birth of the NWO and all that. That's when the product started to really. Because as soon as they started doing that, they started getting more ratings. Well, then they started getting more money, and they started signing bigger contracts. They started getting more talent, and it just snowballed from there. But pre that, Whoo! Yeah, that was some rough wrestling. Yeah. There was the Shocker immediately comes to mind. Yeah, that's how you could go on and on with that kind of stuff.
Runs through the drywall and trips.
JS, where's your Mount Rushmore of because you mentioned the Attitude Era, but what's your fond memories of watching wrestling when you were younger?
Actually, I think my best wrestling memory wasn't when I was that young. Actually, I was an adult. And it was WrestleMania 16, 17
okay.
in Toronto.
Yep.
Hogan
when
versus The Rock.
Rocky fought Hogan.
Okay.
And it turned Rocky. So Hogan was coming back as Hollywood Hogan, right? So as the heel, and Rocky at that point was the good guy, right? He was the face.
The baby face. Yeah.
That was WrestleMania 18 at the Sky Dome.
At the Sky Dome, that's right.
Thank you. And
2000, I think, 2001.
Yeah. And by the end of that match, they had completely flip-flopped. And that was completely because of the crowd, right? The crowd was cheering for Hogan and booing Rocky for some weird reason.
They kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that was a fun match. It was a fun atmosphere. I've seen Monday Night Raw and SmackDown live a couple of times. I was lucky enough to have a source for tickets back in the day. So anytime they were in town, we got to go. We even saw some non-televised shows.
Those are actually better if you get
they are
to a non-TV show. There's more audience interaction, and they're not stuck to the time frame of like, okay, you have 5 minutes before this commercial.
No, and they go on at the end, right?
Yes.
That's the fun thing is once they're done, they keep doing their thing, right? Like it's
they refer to them as house show guys, and house shows can be some of the best shows you'll go to for sure. Because you'll see stuff that you're never ever going to see on TV. So like every wrestler,
favorite wrestlers, guys.
What's that?
Favorite wrestlers?
I'll let Jeff go first.
Growing up, it was for me. It was always this second guy. It was almost never like the guy that the company's resting its shoulders on. So like when I first started watching wrestling, I was a huge Superfly Jimmy Snuka fan. I loved everything that Snuka did. Yeah, absolutely. And then Macho Man. Yeah, Macho Man was my guy. Like I was ride or die Randy Macho Man Savage. Yeah, the whole Elizabeth storyline. And then you get the mega powers and all that jazz because he was always like second fiddle to Hogan and stuff. And then through the Attitude Era, it was The Rock. The Rock was my guy. Again, he was kind of living a little bit in Stone Cold shadow. He carved out a niche for himself, obviously, and then went on to all these huge things. But The Rock, man, like when I don't know if there's ever been anyone better on the stick or better at cutting promos or better on the mic than The Rock. He was just an artist. Like he was masterful, and he would no matter how many times he would say, "And what is your name?" and it doesn't matter. It would kill me every single time in ways that nobody else. Jeff, you're a mark, is what Chris
got you right here,
dude. 100%.
Constantly.
So the funny part was back then, especially during the Attitude Era, you're saying I was a mark. I was what was referred to as a smart, which was I knew sort of what was going on. And I was writing columns for some of the early websites on the internet about wrestling and about a lot of the behind the scenes
I didn't know
stuff.
you were doing that. That's pretty cool.
So there was a site called TPWW, which was the People's Wrestling Website.net. It was run by a guy named AAA. And so I had a couple of columns on there. One was called High Marks and one was called Busted Wide Open. And it was just talking about stuff that was going on in the world of wrestling. And it was at the height of the Monday Night Wars too. So we were talking about stuff that was going on in WWF, in WCW, and then obviously getting some ECW stuff in there too. So it was a little harder to get access to information because it was still early times on the internet. So there wasn't like a huge dearth of, all the stuff that you see before. And they still had quite a bit of kayfabe back then too. Kayfabe, guys, for those that don't know, is a term that protecting the business, not revealing that wrestling is set up. And I'm not saying fake, but that's preordained and everything else. So it was a little bit more difficult to come across information at that point, other than just picking up the Wrestling Observer and seeing whatever Meltzer was talking about or posting back then. But I was dude, I was deep. I was pretty hardcore into it to that point. I really appreciated what the business was doing and watching those two companies just go to war with each other it was every it was literally like DC versus Marvel. Imagine the DC movies were doing just as well, if not better, than the Marvel movies. So Marvel would have to up their game and start making even better movies, and then DC would make even, you know what I mean? That's what it was like watching that.
That's a good analogy. That's exactly how it was.
What it was like was Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck showing up to the Avengers Endgame premiere
a little bit
in their Superman and Batman suits.
A little bit.
That's what it was like.
When Hall and Nash showed up on WCW, you're not wrong as far as that goes.
Oh, it got crazy.
You know who I am?
Yeah.
You don't know why I'm here.
That's right. Yeah, the writing for that was masterful, and how they came back and forth. Megan Sand, she was a Rey Mysterio girl. Huge Rey Mysterio. He came out of
WCW as well, didn't he?
A lot of the talent came through there. But I mean, I'm also like of an age. Like I remember WrestleMania 3, Hogan Andre. I mean, for us, like growing up as kids, that was like a watershed moment. If you're in my generation, if you grew up when I grew up, you did that. You didn't have to be a wrestling fan, and you knew Hogan was fighting Andre for WrestleMania 3. You probably couldn't tell me the card for WrestleMania 1, and I guarantee you can't tell me the card for WrestleMania 2, but you know that Hogan and Andre faced each other at WrestleMania 3.
The Pontiac Silverdome, 93,000.
Whatever it was, 93,000 people. Yeah, they set the indoor attendance record for a venue at the Pontiac Silverdome, almost 100,000. That's like soccer numbers. That's
nuts.
Bananas, and that's how huge it was back then. Dude. Yeah. So anything like that was cool. And now the best part about all this, and I'll get off this here in a second, but the best part about all this is that because all the blinders have been taken off, because the business is now fully exposed, like Sam was saying earlier, now there is so much material out there that's talking about the business itself. There are so many documentaries and so many TV shows. And now even like WWE, formerly WWF, who owns all the footage for everything now, ECW, WCW, all that stuff, they can now produce all these shows and show you all this stuff that we're talking about, even stuff like Dark Side of the Ring or Tales from the Territories, or like all this stuff that's coming out now that's giving you stuff that you did not know back in the day. They protected that very, very closely. You're getting to see stories and hear stories that are just incredible to give you so much insight about how these guys did what they did, and how they got into your homes, and all the stuff that Vinnie Mac did to bring all this together under one umbrella. Like, just bonkers. Okay, I'm done. I'm all I had to get all that off my chest.
All right.
No. It's so funny how we all come to it at some point or another, because I stopped watching after I did all that program. Like, I couldn't give you an indication. Like, I didn't get really through much into the, like, as soon as like Cena basically sort of like the ruthless aggression era, I think is what they're talking about. That's where I dropped off. And I've never gone back.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I don't even know what the current product. I know the current product looks different, but I don't know.
Very, very highly produced and polished. Like, everything is like LED lighting and super bright and crisp and fresh. I want to say, like, it looks like new.
Right.
Maybe that's not a good word, but like that's what it looks like. Whereas back then it was like, okay, we've got some curtains, so we got some lighting, and we've got just guys fighting. But I was like, we got guys fighting, but we have like pyrotechnics and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that the Attitude Era, I think, really brought to, the Jumbotron, right? Yes. That's when they started the Jumbotron, the fireworks, the flames coming out of the posts, the fire coming out of the stage, the big giant stages.
Yes.
Right? Like, they really turned it from a wrestling promotion into a TV production.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Right? I still remember when Vince McMahon came on the fucking TV and he looked right in the camera and he said, "I apologize for how childish and immature our product is." This is when they started getting their asses kicked by WCW. "We are going to turn this around and we are going to give you a better product." This is way before the business was exposed. Like, he still looked right in that camera and was like, "We're not giving you the stuff you want to see. We're going to turn this around and we're going to give you the stuff you want to see." And then you get your G Generation X, then you get your Stone Cold Steve Austin, then you get these things that it's been said before, and I'll say it again. It's soap opera for men. That's exactly what professional wrestling is.
100%.
It's soap opera for dudes.
100%.
Right?
And
not that women don't enjoy watching wrestling, because they do, but it's male soap opera. There's no question.
It is, and the fight is just the culmination of the story, right? It's tension that's built over weeks of promos and jabbing at each other, and because let's be honest, you're talking about The Rock being the king of promos, but Stone Cold and McMahon the stuff that those two did together, from the cement in the limousine to Stone Cold hitting McMahon with a fucking
it's the greatest.
P-pan
It's
to,
the greatest. It's the greatest feud of all
listen,
time. There's no.
there
Pan
was,
McMahon.
Yeah.
oh, it was so good. I mean, you know, there was a rebellion, like there was a rebel in Stone Cold that we all had in ourselves back in those days because we were still fairly young. Anyway, yeah, that for me, that
No,
was
it's the greatest feud of
for me.
all. It's the greatest wrestling feud of all time. I don't even know how you could argue the point.
Yeah.
Name me one wrestling feud that's better than Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon. Mr. Vince, he was everybody told him, don't go on TV, don't go on TV, stick with announcing, do not go on TV, do not become a character. And he created that Mr. McMahon corporate character, and holy shit.
Mhm. He also, I think he got a little bit forced too, because when he screwed Brett over, people were like, "Oh yeah, he's the boss," and I think that's when he said, "Okay,
Hey, Brett screwed Brett."
Oh,
right?
Jeff, we're fighting now. Don't do that.
The Montreal Screwjob, guys. If you ever want to fall down a really deep rabbit hole, the Montreal Screwjob is we don't have time to go into it today, but wow, yeah, crazy.
I'll just say this: you're right that it never would have happened if Brett wasn't leaving, but it still was a shitty thing to do to somebody who gave you so much. Right? Like, let's be honest. I mean, back in those days, he built that company pretty much, right? I mean, again, Brett, listen, anyway.
I don't want to get into it. It'll be another hour. We're talking about
I don't want to get into it, but it was pretty
shitty.
shitty. Did he react the right way? Did not Brett, but did
Vince or Shawn Michaels?
Shawn Michaels, sorry. Did
or
Brett react the right way to listen? You know what? I don't want to get into it. Let's stop it there because you're right. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole.
This will fall off a cliff for sure.
But those were one of those stories that transcended the ring, right? And we've seen some of those throughout the years. But that was one of those things that wasn't just a ring feud. That was a real thing, right? Like
yeah,
when
another
you
example
fight
that exposed
for
the
a
business.
living, you're gonna get into some tension-filled situations.
They quoted
right?
Brett. Brett has said, this was the story where they were working together and they were having their matches for the belt and everything. And Brett said to Shawn, "I enjoy your work," or something to that effect. And goes, "And I would not mind losing to you." And I guess Shawn at the time, because he was a dick at the time, he said to Brett, he says, "I feel the same about you, but I wouldn't lose to you."
Right, I remember.
And then that rubbed Brett the wrong way, and he was okay, he's one of these guys.
Yeah, but like we talked about it, like it definitely. And I remember like specific things where if you like, there was still some like Jericho coming from Chris Jericho coming from WCW to WWF at the time because they had the whole Millennium Countdown. But you had to know how the business worked on some level to know who the fuck Jericho was and why it was such a big deal that he was now with WWF. Like, you had to know that he's a contracted talent for one company and now he's signed with another company, just like
you did know because WWF at the time made a big deal about it. They wanted to make sure you knew.
That's right.
That he was coming from WCW to the big leagues, right? That's how they were playing it, right?
Yeah.
So even if you didn't watch WCW and you had no idea who Chris Jericho was, when he came, you
found out
knew
real
he
quick.
was. And he went right after The Rock, right? First thing he did is he went after The Rock, and then he was treated for like an idiot for a little while, right? Because he wasn't.
Then he was the first undisputed champion of all time.
That's right.
He was the first undisputed champion of all time.
Right.
I mean, he stole it, but again, that's
he beat the top two company guys in one night, man. That's.
Did you guys hear the story of what happened to him that night when he went to his hotel?
No, I literally just watched the program on Jericho. Yeah. Maybe he talked about it. Maybe I'll let you tell it though, Sam.
So he won both belts in that night. Yeah. So he goes to the dressing room after the match. Everyone has left because they're like, "Oh, we got to get on the road, get the plane to the next town or whatever they're doing." So he drives to the hotel and he parks everything. He checks in. He goes up to his room, puts all his stuff down, and he puts his two belts on the table in the room, and he orders pizza. And the pizza guy says, "I can't bring it up to you. You have to come to the lobby." So he goes down to the lobby and he gets his pizza and he goes up and he's locked himself out of his room. and it takes him like, I guess, 30 minutes to find the front desk guy to like let him in. And the front desk is like, okay, well, what's in your room? He's like, you're gonna walk in, there's gonna be 2 championship belts on the table. So he's okay. So the guy lets him in, the belts are there, and he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm the world heavyweight champion of wrestling, and I'm eating pizza in my room by myself. So he said, like, yay, I won the belt, but it was very like lonely win.
Yeah,
because,
boo! I
like,
locked myself out in my slippers in a
Yeah.
hotel, in a motel somewhere, like fucking. Yeah.
So he was like, it was the greatest night, but then it was the worst night because I was by myself and I was stuck just eating pizza.
Are you up on the current product, Sam? Like, do you watch current stuff?
Mostly. I don't catch Raw a whole lot, but I watch SmackDown more. Just because it's a Friday and I just want to relax and everything. So
no, that's fair. Do you watch AEW at all, or
I want to say yes, but I haven't for the past maybe 2 months, just because I've been working on other stuff and getting this ready to go.
No, that's fair. Yeah. So for those that kind of like that again, same thing. Like Vince McMahon, who owns WWE. Well, I guess he doesn't own it now. He just sold it. But I mean, did own WWE.
Is that a done deal?
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's like 99% done.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, he sold it to Endeavor, and Endeavor owns the UFC as well.
That's right.
Yeah, they bought UFC from Dana.
Yeah, it's all one conglomerate now or whatever. So
whatever.
Yeah.
Which I did not think they sold it. So when I saw they own this company, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. Vince had bought WCW and ECW as well. So Vince essentially owns any major wrestling promotions video backlog category, all of them essentially. And now we're finally getting almost back to the days of the Monday Night Wars. We're actually getting another promotion coming up. I think it's a guy named Tony Khan that runs it.
Yes.
For AEW or All Elite Wrestling, and same kind of thing. That's what happened with WCW, WWE. You got guys going back and forth. You got maybe poaching talent back and forth, like a lot of AEW. Not a lot of it, but some of it does seem to be based on getting guys like Jim Ross as one of their announcers, and Jim Ross was the voice of WWF/E wrestling for ages and ages and ages, and worked in talent acquisition and everything else.
Jim Ross pass away?
Nope. No,
he's still alive.
He's still alive. Yeah.
Is he really? Oh,
absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Still kicking around. So
I feel like he had left the WWE at one point because his health was so bad.
Yeah. Now he's with AEW. Well, and they fired him and rehired him, and a whole. Don't ever look up what's happened to poor Jim Ross, because he is not
good old JR.
Wrestling has not been kind to JR, but I mean, he has still been in it the whole time. So he's still there. He's still kicking. He's got a great barbecue sauce, I'd like to point out.
He does. I've had it. Great mustard too.
Nope. I haven't had the mustard, but the barbecue sauce is quite good. So yeah, so we're almost not getting back to, but we are at a point now where it's not just one company holds a monopoly anymore. Now we're getting, and I mean, and there is also other smaller promotions, Ring of Honor, Impact. There's other promotions as well, but it feels like we're getting back to, we're getting like an actual big two again. Sam, is that kind of what, because I'm not super up on the current product. I could not name you 10 guys from either roster right now. But everybody that I talk to that is a wrestling fan, and a lot of people in the cosplay and geek community are wrestling fans, they talk about both promotions almost like they're on
huge right now.
Pretty equal footing. Is that a fair assessment?
I would say yes. Just because WWE has been around so long and has all this like legacy behind it, they will always be the number one. And then the AEW group is more it's more of the newer style, so it's a lot of like acrobatics, whereas WWE still sticks with their like tried and true formula of like good guys versus bad guys. This is the story. Where AEW is like, we have good guys and bad guys, but we actually keep score, and like wins matter, losses matter, but our guys are really athletic, so they have more of a WCW cruiserweight feel to them versus WWE.
Does it get into like lucha libre or like
they do have some lucha guys? So they brought in Bandito, who is right out of Mexico. So they brought him in, and he's like this really crazy athletic guy. They have, I don't think he signed them, but they brought in this newer talent. His name is El Hijo del Vikingo, and he's the guy's human highlight reel. Rey Mysterio back then, he's being compared to like if he was the Rey Mysterio of this time. Like he's very crazy flips and
lucha libre. If you ever get a chance to watch some authentic lucha libre wrestling in Mexico, the stuff that they do it's just blow your mind. The athleticism that these guys put out there, and they were a big, huge staple part of the WCW cruiserweight division back in the day.
Yes.
You had your guys like, Juventud, like all those guys that came up through and were just killing it in that division anyways, sorry. Getting ahead of myself.
Dragon.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. AEW has Jericho now. So, I mean, that's, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, he's been there since day one.
Yeah,
Jordan was also saying McMahon is still a top shareholder, he believes.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yes, he's still the chairman of the board. He just sold the company to the team.
Right.
Whatever the Endeavor, that's who. So he sold the company to them, but he still owns the majority of the shares, I think, and is the chairman of the board.
Because it's still a publicly traded company, right? Like yeah.
I think they're going to collapse the one stock they have. They just have a new one. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be like a UFC WWE stock together.
I got you. That makes sense. If they're going to run it as one giant promotion. Now they got that slap fighting now too.
That's dumb.
That's them too, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% is.
Yeah, that's them too.
I think that was initially on the UFC side, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but like pre-merger, I think they started this. Well, I think it was already a thing, and I think they just bought it and started promoting it. Is what I'm gathering out of that.
I believe they bought another outfit.
That's what I mean. Like it existed, and then Dana White and them bought it, and then they started to promote it.
Correct.
And now it's like a thing, which I don't know if you guys haven't seen this. I mean, hey, hold on. To each your own. I'm not going to cast judgment. I was just going to say, don't waste your time. But I mean, it literally is two people, male and/or males. Sorry, you know what? I'm not even going to get into the gender roles because I don't want to dip my foot into that. But two people on either side of it, like essentially like almost like an arm wrestling table, but they're not arm wrestling. They just slap each other in the face. And I don't know the rules. It just seems like one person falls down, so I guess the other person wins, or like what? I don't. What happens if they both fall? I don't even know. It seems really stupid.
It's each their turn, right? First one slaps, then the next one slaps, and it's first one to fall, right? Like first one to get slap the shit out of them.
Fuck out. Yeah, I don't. It seems like the dumbest thing.
It does seem dumb, but I've seen some knockouts, man. That like
watch boxing. What are you doing? Like I don't. Are there rankings for it? Like, can I join the slap league and I can work my way up the indie circuit, up the ladder, and become a professional slapper?
Probably.
You probably can.
That would be great.
You probably can.
Do they have a senior division? Because that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I was just going to say. You beat me to it. Yeah.
If I could, I want to jump into some of these comments some people have left.
Of course. Yeah. What do you want us to?
Going back to Megan, that was a Rey Mysterio girl. He still wrestles. So he is still on WWE. He recently teamed with his son, Dominic.
Who seems like he's a bit of a piece of shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's his character, yeah.
He's a heel, right? Yeah. He's not a... Yeah,
so when they brought him in, he was like, I'm wrestling with my dad. This is so cool. They won the tag team belts. So they're their only father-son combo to win the tag belts.
No, I didn't know that.
And then the Judgment Day, which is like a group of heels, they came around there. And so Rhea Ripley, who's like this monster of a woman, she was the current champion. So she saw Dominic and got in his head and got him away from his good old dad. And now he's like this bad guy. And he's got this bad influence of a girlfriend, we'll say. So he feuded with his dad. He wrestled his dad at WrestleMania.
Them women, they'll get you.
So the people who don't know what WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling. So he wrestled his dad at WrestleMania, and now he's playing this bad guy, and he's just antagonizing his dad at every turn.
Who won?
I think Ray won at WrestleMania, if my memory is right. It was a month ago. I'm surprised I can't remember. That's a little scary.
Hold on. But wrestling is such a hugely generational sport. There's there's such a ridiculous amount of nepotism. You're telling me a father-son team has never held tag belts in a major wrestling promotion before? Really?
Not in WWE.
Damn.
Maybe elsewhere, but not in WWE.
Yeah, because I feel we haven't had a lot of father-son wrestling at the same time, right? Like, you got to remember these guys, like specifically the WWE guys, when they started, they were on the road 340 days a year, right?
Now their kids are
older, so they don't have kids until later in life. So by the time their kids are old enough to wrestle, they're old men and no longer wrestling, right? I feel like
Jordan says Ray won, so thanks, Jordan.
Ray won. There you go.
There you go.
Dominic just beat him, I think, on SmackDown last week. I think they had a match maybe the week before where Dominic actually won with some assistance from the Judgment Day. Jordan put yes from Mommy is Rhea Ripley. That's her thing. She's Mommy. So he's around still. Ray. WrestleMania. Chris Skilling says WrestleMania 1 was Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. That's who.
Hey, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
Yes,
Look at
that was them. Jamie C was when Undertaker dragged Diesel through the ring to hell. That still that did still happen up until like 3 years ago. They would drag someone through the ring.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Because Undertaker would leave, then he would come back, and then he would just be all super powery and supernatural.
That's a great gimmick. I love the superpowered
it's the best
Taker that would come out through the ring, and
the
casket would
stage,
open, and yeah, that was awesome.
Scared the crap out of me when I was like 10. Chris Skilling says, I stopped watching after I stopped wrestling. I saw Chris say he used to wrestle in Windsor. If he's still watching, what was your name when you wrestled? Maybe I know people who know you. Possibly.
6 degrees of separation here on the Geek Boutique podcast.
Exactly.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Jordan says, do you know a reputable school near Cambridge? I know a couple wrestling schools.
Hold on. He was you can do that, but he was actually asking our friend Steve about I think it was he not asking about reputable RMTs? Reputable one near Cambridge. He was actually talking to collaborated cosplays, like they all need an RMT. So it's for those of you that don't know, our boy Groot
yes, my bad.
works as an RMT. So
I agree. Yes, we all need one. I agree.
Sam, did you want to maybe
rub me down now? But
Knuckles Luciano.
Oh,
that's a name I do not know, but
yeah,
I'll ask some friends. Maybe they know.
Knuckles Luciano.
That's a great
aka St. Thomas Backman.
Right.
Sam, do you want to run us through some of the fights? Because obviously we've got some of the wabam.
Yes. I'm really excited for this one you got. So Jesse Bieber, bad guy.
Any relation?
You'd have to ask him, but I want to say probably. So Jesse Bieber, he's wrestling's pop star. I'm going to roll my eyes at that because we all do. So Jesse Bieber, glitz and glam, rock star, pop star guy. He's going to take on Jeremy Elliott, world champion, world sport karate Hall of Famer. So I came up with this just by mistake. Didn't even realize it was a rhyme, but we have glitz and glam versus Karate Man. So I'm excited for this one because it's going to be like a super different contrast of styles. Because Jesse is obviously not a karate guy, and karate is Karate Man. Karate Man, that's what you just refer to him as, Karate Man, Jeremy Elliott. So Karate Man, literally world champion, can tap you out 6 ways to Sunday. So I'm excited for this one myself. This one I think is going to be a sleeper of a match.
What happened?
Easy on his feet.
This is why we can't have nice things. Jesus.
There we go.
So there's Cody Deaner, current Impact Wrestling star Cody Deaner. He will be at the show. We don't know who he's going to wrestle. You'll need to be there to find out. So
when are we finding out?
At the show.
At the show, he'll find out.
That's right.
He won't tell us who he's wrestling. Yeah, I've asked him. I'm not telling you. You got to find out the show.
Hey man,
so
that guy knows how to do promotion.
I don't know if he's gonna have an open challenge or something, but you will find out May 20th.
Excellent.
So here we go. Here's Channing Decker. He is the champion of Greektown Wrestling out of Toronto. He's known as the White Bronco. That's a sweet name if you ask me. He also has a more hardcore style, so he has a lot of ECW tributes in his appearance and gimmick. I don't want to call it a gimmick because the guy is himself. So he has a lot of ECW appeal. So if you were ECW guys, you may get a vibe from him that way. He has wrestled Rob Van Dam, I think 3 times over the past year. Once in Toronto, and I think once in Nova Scotia, and once in somewhere in the States. This is just a guess if it's Virginia or something. So he has wrestled RVD a few times. So he's coming down to Niagara Falls to take on Tiberius King, one of our co-owners. I'm just going to jump into comments for a second. Mr. Stumbles ZZ says Tiberius King is a living legend. He worked at Kelsey's car dealership and wrestled at the same time. All of this is true. So Tiberius, he is the man. He was originally scheduled to wrestle Chris Chambers. However, there was a scheduling conflict, so Chris Chambers is not appearing. So now Channing Deckard has accepted the King's Open Challenge, and we're going to have a battle. We got the ladies.
Women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling. So we have Silesia Sparks. She's out of Toronto. She's going to take on Casey Spinelli. It's big K, little C. Get it right or you're in trouble. Big K, little C, Spinelli. She's out of Guelph. So these ladies have been wrestling for about, I want to say, 10 years apiece. So they are well-traveled, well-rounded, very athletic competitors, and this is going to be an excellent fight. You guys will like this one because we have Scotty the Body. So he has pure power. He's going to take on Daddy Davis, who has the dad strength. Scotty the Body is, if I had to describe him,
call me Daddy.
He is it's a great shirt. So Scotty the Body he is the Ultimate Warrior and Sting put together, if I had to describe him. And he's taking on Daddy Davis, like I said, world class contender, very strong, very technically savvy. But if you're not careful, he can tie you up in knots and make fun of you at the same time.
And has a glorious mustache.
Glorious mustache. Glorious. Glorious.
There he is.
Yes, there's the man himself, Sean Spears. He is putting on a wrestling seminar for anyone who registers previously. If you are a trained wrestler, it doesn't matter your skill level. If you have just any training, if it's any experience level, yeah, you are welcome to attend. Please DM us on either Facebook or Instagram at GoNeoPro to sign up. The cost is $50, and you learn from the man who taught Cody Rhodes how to wrestle. We have it on tape. Cody Rhodes saying Sean Spears taught me how to wrestle when he was in the farm league of OVW. So learn from one of the best. He's helped me out. He never had to. I was having some trouble with refereeing. I didn't know how some things tied into the show. And he pulled me aside one day and he's like, "Hey man, this is what you got to do." So he broke things down for me and he explained it. And I'm always grateful that he did that.
Can you help our boy Rob here? Rob, the bad guy, Geeks and co-founding member. I have dad strength. I was wondering if I could wrestle. It looks like the answer is yes.
Absolutely. Get yourself trained.
I would pay every penny in my current savings account to watch Rob wrestle. Oh, please make it happen. Give it to me. I need it.
His gimmick is getting his butt kicked every time and throwing my back. Maybe wrestling is not.
I don't doubt his strength, but his back. Whew.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Let's make sure Rob doesn't die.
They have a word for those guys. They're called jobbers. Rob, that's what those guys do.
Yes. Enhancement talent.
And yes, you were with Al Snow in the Job Squad. That's who you were with on that one. That's for sure. So
that's just the same poster again.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Battle of the heavy hitters. So I try not to pick a winner here because both these guys are my friends, so I don't want to pick one over the other. But Tarek, super athlete, just super well-rounded wrestler. Vince Valor, Invincible Vince, he is the last graduate of the Neo Dojo, which was the school we had during the second run when Neo was operating in 2010 to 2013. So he's the last graduate from the dojo. So he is looking to come home. Like I said, it is homecoming. So he is coming home, and I don't think he's going to take kindly to Tarek coming on his territory.
It's Battle of the Beards.
Yes. Oh, yes. Another favorite of mine. So we have the Deadly Venoms. Jake O'Reilly on the left, Tornado on the right, versus the Italianos, Stickball Tony Carboni, and Primo Scordino. Both of these teams have been tag teams for about 15 to 20 years. And they have never faced off in a tag team match against each other. So at Neo, first time ever, Deadly Venoms versus Italianos. Italianos are from Niagara Falls, like I've mentioned. They are the homegrown heroes. And the Deadly Venoms said, we had enough of these guys, so they're coming to take them out.
As you do.
So these guys, I guess most of them go from promotion to promotion and they work, I'm assuming, as much as they can. Are other than Sean Spears, are there a lot of these guys that are full-time wrestlers, or are they mostly the kind of guys like your buddy Tiberius here who do a couple different things?
Who wrestles professionally? Channing Decker. I know he does that for his shoot job.
Yeah,
that is his bread and butter. The other guys, they do wrestle very regularly. Like I want to say, like every week. Basically, you have 52 weeks in a year. They're wrestling 51.
Right.
So they may not be on TV, but a lot of them should be on TV because they're that good. Like Ontario is Like Jordan, if he's still here, like Jordan can attest to this. Like these guys, Ontario is a secret bed of talent because everyone in the States are like, well, we don't need Canadians. We have such a larger audience of wrestling and guys who can wrestle in America that they don't really look at Canada. So recently, Impact Wrestling has been running here a lot more often, and they've been slowly like plucking people from Canada.
Which is so dumb because the WWF/E has always had such a huge amount of Canadian-born wrestlers in the promotion, literally from the jump. That's so funny that you're saying that that's the attitude that they like turn their nose up at Canadian wrestlers, and yet Canadian wrestlers have been essentially the backbone.
The Heart, Jericho, Benoit, Edge and Christian, freaking like.
No, it's ridiculous.
So many,
dude. Roddy Piper was Canadian.
Roddy Piper,
like yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's crazy that they're just turning their nose up at you guys, and yet there probably wouldn't be the WWE product today if it wasn't for Canada's contribution to the world of wrestling. But anyways, sorry, I had to jump in there on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stumble ZZ says the Italianos are missing Tiberius King, the third band. That's another deep cut reference. So there has been times where one of the Italianos couldn't make the show, or they'd be injured or whatever. So Tiberius King would sub in. So he was the unofficial Italiano.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Get your tickets, guys, because it's coming up fast. May 20th, you said you got 9 days?
Next Saturday, 7 o'clock. Columbus Club of Niagara Falls. Tickets at goneopro.ca. Get them now. They're going fast.
Obviously, you're going to be there.
I'll be there. I'm photographing all the action. You'll see me. If you see me, say hey. You're going to see all the wrestling. You're going to see great show. I'm super thrilled about this show. Like we were on a tour last night. We were putting up posters just around town. This is one final push. And we're like, you guys, like it's 9-10 days away. And there's that like silence for a second. We all went like, oh my God. The goosebumps happened. We're like, let's go.
Yeah,
we're ready to go.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Folks, go make sure you go follow Go Neo Pro also on Instagram. You're running that page, right?
I am, yes.
So there's going to be a lot of pictures from the event and
absolutely.
Yes.
We are revealing the main event tomorrow, sometime during the day. I'm not sure of the time, but we are revealing the event tomorrow. So you'll see who's going to wrestle who in the main event of the first show in 10 years.
Woo!
Excellent.
I'm excited.
You want to wrap this up, Mr. JS Bologna?
Yeah. Well, before we go, Sam, do you want to pitch your personal stuff as well? Your
absolutely
personal Instagram and
for
socials?
sure. I appreciate that. Thank you. So yes, for wrestling, we are at Go Neo Pro. For my own personal stuff, my cosplay, my leather work, my prop making, all that good stuff, I'm at Cino Creative. And for my photo portfolio / photo blog, I'm at Cino Photo, and that's Cino FOTO. So I'll have all my wrestling stuff there.
I forgot about that account.
Pro.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
I don't post there a whole lot, but now that I have some more content, I'll be putting more things up there. And once this show is done, I hope to get back to costume making and kind of relax for a bit. And I'll see all you guys at Niagara Falls as well.
Yeah. Hell yeah, you will.
And then I'll be at Fan Expo as well.
Sweet.
Yes.
Nice.
Already. Myself and Altered State Cosplay, we were both going. So shout out to Brent. So we'll be there.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you there. We're gonna be finalizing our plans for Fan Expo.
That's what I want to ask. If you guys had like a lineup or a theme that day.
Yeah, we will. We're gonna have a lineup and a theme for sure, which we're hoping to be able to announce shortly. But we have to agree on that first. This is the thing, right?
We keep adding people to the team, and now there's so many voices, and now we're just trying to it's like herding cats, right? Like,
well, that's okay. I mean,
no, it's good. No, it's good for sure.
We just have to sit down and figure it out, and which we're going to do over the next couple of weeks. Yeah. We don't really have any events coming up in the next couple of weeks. I think the next thing is going to be Niagara, which, like I said, we're not really there in any kind of real official capacity.
We're just there to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go there. We're going to crash the party and, hopefully shut down the con and,
You didn't invite us, so we crashed.
That's
all we're gonna do. I'm gonna pull a mouth of the stuff, Jenny Hart. I'm gonna have a megaphone. It's gonna have.
Dude, we've been talking about getting flags to put on our backs when we walk around, and
we'll set up a table right out front. That's right. We'll just have our own booth right out front. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, I forgot
Piss
one
everybody off.
one thing before we go. Can you get the poster back up on the screen for a sec?
Yes, I could totally do
I
that.
forgot about one thing that's very important. I'm very ashamed I forgot to mention it. So
There we go.
So at the lower third, you'll see the logo for Community Crew. Community Crew is a charity organization. They are putting lunches together for kids in need. So a lot of kids, 1 in 6 children in Niagara right now go to school hungry. So Community Crew is a volunteer organization assembling lunch for all these kids that go without. They have put together 4,000 lunches every month. So if you are coming to the show, or even if, let's say, you can't come to the show, you still want to help out, we are accepting school-safe snacks at the door. And if you want to stick around for the show, you'll get a ticket for the door prize.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you are come out, please bring us your snacks. Give us your snacks.
Excellent. Jeff? You got
Niagara,
anything?
Niagara in 3
Niagara?
weeks, and I can spill a little bit of beans. Forest City Comic Con here in London on June 24th has asked me to come back again as a guest. I'll be doing judging, not people as I typically do, but the cosplay contest. I'll be there as a cosplay contest judge. So you should see stuff start to roll out for that convention here pretty soon because we're not too far away. We're only a little over a month away. So June 24th here in London, Ontario, I believe it's in Centennial Hall is Forest City Comic Con. So be there and be square. And then, yeah, Niagara Falls. I should be posting my lineup here probably this week. I'm just finalizing stuff now and going to be a good time. Get to me early because if you see me too late in the day, any one of those 3 days, I'm going to be fucking loaded. So, yep, it's going to be that kind of con. By the way, when I post my lineup, I'm going to be giving you at least a hint on what our buddy Crazy Mike Cosplay is going to be doing on Saturday at Niagara Falls Comic Con. Kids, strap in for that one because, woo, Nelly, I'm not going to spill the beans here, but you don't want to miss it is all I'm going to say.
I do know what you're doing.
Yeah,
you told me on the weekend.
Yeah.
I just clicked.
Yeah.
It's worth the price of tickets.
It's something.
Just to go see Mike. Now,
yeah.
Let's be honest.
Is it a big costume? Is it like physically big?
I will tell you as soon as we're off the air. So
yeah,
that's what I was doing.
Last year you guys did
Anchorman,
which was a massive hit.
Yep.
I think this may cause a lot more commotion.
Well, he's certainly going to. This is gonna be one of those nice ones where like nobody's gonna notice me at all. I'm just gonna be his sidekick. It's gonna be great. But yeah, I will. Yes, you guys will see it. Anyways, guys,
hey, listen, everybody, whoever stuck with us through this crazy show, thank you so much. If you're listening to us on one of your favorite podcast platform, thank you again. But come and check us out on YouTube. Give us a follow. Click that like button. It really helps out the algorithm. It helps propagate these videos through the YouTube verse. I think that's going to be it for this week, though. Make sure you stay geeky, everybody. I'm sure we'll see you next week.
See y'all later. Remember to go Neo Pro May 20th.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Geek Boutique Podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss anything.